What is going on, everybody? Welcome into a Stadium Rant exclusive interview. We've got one heck of a guest for you today. A little bit outside the normal box that you see here at Stadium Rant, but that's what we're all about. Go outside the box, find these insane guests that have quite a resume. He has a record of 147 and 17 overall as a coach in Paralympics with the U.S., and he is also a newly crowned national champion head coach at the University of Auburn wheelchair basketball. He's got so much more to talk about. Let's not waste any more time. That man is Robb Taylor. Robb, thank you so much for joining the show today, and we're happy to have you here.
Hey, War Eagle, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to start off, I always like to kind of paint a picture. Like we'll get to the new stuff, the national championship and all that. We'll get to that, but like to maybe go backwards a little bit and talk about kind of how you got started. So, I mean, you can go look up everything that Robb has done, but just to quickly paint it out, University of Illinois, you got to coach there at for the wheelchair basketball team, and then you find your way to the Phoenix Mercury for a club team. Kind of talk to me about that journey going from helping at the collegiate level and then going into those club teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, my journey starts even before Illinois. So, a lot of the questions I get asked is, man, how did you get involved in wheelchair basketball? You're not disabled. And for me, I got introduced because of my uncle. My uncle has polio. He's played wheelchair basketball his entire life. He played for the Chicago Wheelchair Bulls. He coached a women's team in the Chicagoland area. So I first got started by going to those practices and kind of helping out and jumping in a chair and doing whatever they needed to. I got my undergrad from the University of Illinois and was fortunate enough to work with both the men and the women's wheelchair basketball teams that they had on campus. And again, started as the water boy and a towel boy. And my roles and responsibility kind of grew with the team. That by the time I graduated, I was the assistant coach of both the teams there. After graduating, I moved out to Arizona. I coached the Phoenix Mercury. It's a women's wheelchair basketball team that was out in Phoenix at the time. And I can tell you, I left college. I had this great practice plan that I took into my first practice down to the minute. Here's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be this great team. And I walked in the gym and I had 3 athletes. So all the 5-on-5 work that I had planned and, the offense that I wanted to implement and the defense that we were going to start kind of had to crumple that up and throw it out and really pivot and kind of coach on the fly due to the number of athletes that were there. But learned an incredible amount working with that team. After about 5 years, my family and I moved back to the Chicagoland area. So I started coaching the Windy City Warriors, which is a juniors team out in the western suburbs of Chicago, and did that for several years before ultimately moving down here to Auburn. So we've been down here for about 10 years now and have loved every minute of it. And yes, capped it off this year with that national championship. But it started, over 25 years ago when I first got involved at the University of Illinois. And a big part that I missed off that you mentioned in the introduction is my involvement with the U.S. team. So I've been involved with the U.S. team for 16 years, spent 4 years as an assistant coach with the U.S. women, spent 12 years with the men, 8 as an assistant coach and 4 as a head coach. So have been all over the country, have been all over the world and done a little bit of everything as it relates to wheelchair basketball.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like it doesn't really get much better. I mean, and you get to coach some of the highest level athletes at the D1 level. And now you have all this experience with Team USA. And I'm sure, does that kind of help you a little bit where you kind of see the next level of kids that could move up to that USA level? Does that help you guys kind of maybe see what's down the line as far as talent?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the important part is that a lot of kids that play wheelchair basketball have aspirations to be on the Paralympic team. And having that experience myself of coaching for 16 years on the international level, I know what it takes to not just make the team, but be able to stay on the team for a long period of time. So I use that when I coach our student athletes here at Auburn, is the mentality, the systems that we run, We do it in a way that allows our guys to be successful if and when they get tryouts for their national team. So, this past weekend I was out in Colorado assisting with the U.S. men's selection committee when they selected their team for World Championships. We had 3 guys from Auburn that were there. All 3 of them did not make the team, but they're all alternates for this year's team. But we've got guys that are close to cracking that senior team roster, and several of them, once they do make a senior team roster, they're going to have the skills that they need to make sure that they don't lose that spot for a long time.
Yeah, that's incredible to have that pipeline and be able to get those kids at least a look at that next level. I mean, that's very awesome. So kind of talking more about that USA stage. I mean, there's this guy right here, 4 gold medals. Not many people can say that. That is quite an accomplishment. So kind of talk to me about that time. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I was reading something online that the men's wheelchair team had won in a 4-year cycle. It was something with the gold medals that had never been done before.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been very fortunate that every team that I've been a part of that have gone to a Paralympic Games has won a gold medal. There's very few people that can say that they're undefeated at the Paralympics in terms of winning gold. So, with the women in 2008, I was an assistant coach, and they had won a gold medal in 2004. So we pretty much brought back most of the same team. And we just had an incredible run in 2008 where we were able to capture that with a gold medal in Beijing. And that was my first Paralympic experience. But, I had traveled out of the country with the U.S. women prior to that, but going over to China and being a part of that game was absolutely incredible. And of course, winning gold is the highlight there. I moved over to the men's team starting in 2013. And the first trip or the first Paralympic Games with the men was in 2016 when we went to Rio de Janeiro. That game, or those games were incredible as well. Our first game was against Brazil, the host country. And there's nothing better than shutting up, 12 to 15,000 Brazilians when your team is winning by about, 15 points at the end of the first quarter. They are a very loud and obnoxious group, which is awesome and creates a great environment. But we had a great team there. We won gold in 2016, and that was the first time the U.S. men had won gold at Paralympics in 28 years. So great accomplishment for our program. The Tokyo Games in 2020, night and day different. That was during COVID. Fans weren't allowed to be over there, so we didn't have any family or friends there supporting us. In the gold medal game, a lot of the volunteers that had worked the Paralympics were able to come in, but they had to socially distance, so there had to be like 5 seats in between each one of them and every other row. So there was about 800 fans there watching the game, and that was just a different experience because of how quiet it was. Now, we were fortunate enough to win back-to-back gold there. After Tokyo, the head coach of the team decided to step down, and I got promoted to head coach. So I took over the team after Tokyo, and yes, what you read was right. In the 4 years that I ran the program as head coach, we didn't lose at any major tournament. We won a gold at every single major, including that picture that you showed was from World Championships, which was in Dubai. And again, that was the first time that the U.S. men had won gold in over 20 years at World Championships. So we get one of those beautiful trophies. We get the medal and everything that goes with it. So we kind of set the standard there for the rest of the quad. And we finished it up in Paris in 2024 by winning the gold medal there, becoming the first men's wheelchair basketball program to win 3 consecutive gold medals. And the team is set up and primed to win another gold medal in LA 2028. There I am on the sideline, got to represent Auburn while I'm on the international stage. But that game was an incredible experience too. The energy in the stands was just great. I think everybody was excited to have fans back in the stands for Paralympic Games. And the folks in Paris put on a great show. It was a sellout every single game. Fans were loud the entire game. Our quarterfinal matchup was against France, and we dominated France from the very beginning, and I think we were up by 30 points or something in the fourth quarter. But the French fans started singing the French national anthem near the end of the game. And I mean, it still gives me goosebumps to this day thinking, 12,000 fans in the stands singing a national anthem and just being very supportive of their team. Each game has its own special place in my heart for what it meant for me at that time. Paris, with me being a first-time head coach at the Paralympics, was just phenomenal. And then back here in the States, all the coverage that we were getting from NBC and Peacock just really helped explode our sport and help get eyes on what we were doing over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, gold medals aside, I mean, I feel like that's got to be something that was just very gratifying for you guys, is to get eyeballs on a sport that is very competitive. I've been to several tournaments myself and gotten to watch you guys with Auburn play, and just hearing and seeing it live is a whole lot different than just kind of talk about it. So yeah, that's awesome that you guys got that level of exposure. And then we kind of move into that Auburn time. So you've now been there for 10 years.
Yep.
Lots of coaching experience now at that level, over 160 wins there at Auburn. And it's now culminated in the ultimate, which is winning a national championship. So just what was that moment like, to finally be like, we've reached the mountaintop. This is the highest we can give it these kids. What was that moment like?
Yeah, I mean, it's winning gold medals is incredible. Winning a collegiate national championship is just as good, if not better. And I think with that is because the student athletes that we have here, we've put in the work all season. And for a number of these guys, they put in the work for several years of being student athletes here at Auburn. So being able to not just win the last game of the season, but to be able to win a national championship game just puts an exclamation point on what these student athletes and what the staff has done throughout this year. For us to win our first national championship was incredible for our program. For us to do it against our rivals, Alabama, elevated it a little more. But reflecting on this national championship, I've been here for 10 years. I was the first head coach that was hired as part of this program. When I came in, we had 2 or 3 student athletes, and we were kind of building from the bottom up. And we had a vision when we came into this program in terms of how we wanted to grow it, the direction that we wanted to take it. And I do remember telling my boss when I got hired, like, hey, listen, this is not an overnight thing. I said, you're going to have to give me 4 to 5 years to really build a foundation, start recruiting in student athletes that can make an impact. And I said, around year 10, that's when we should be challenging for a national championship. Lo and behold, here we are 10 years later, and we're able to raise that trophy. But it is a testament to all the work that's gone in over the last 10 years. It's a big testament to the student athletes that were here at the beginning and that were here during kind of phase 1 and built that foundation, knowing that they were laying the foundation for the success that we have today and the success that we're going to have going forward. They knew that they weren't necessarily going to be holding up that championship trophy, even though that was our goal every year. But they understood that they were doing everything they could to make sure that our program was going to be successful and would be able to sustain that success going forward. So they planted the seed for the tree that we're now climbing and celebrating in with a national championship trophy.
Yeah, and it feels like that's a lot of these like legitimate programs now. You had to start somewhere. So the fact that you guys have been able to kind of take it from base level to where it's at now, yeah, that's quite a journey to be on. But I'm sure it's worth it. I mean, when you get to do things like this and celebrate with everybody. What was that parade like, or the celebration? I saw you guys, the picture at the tree where they TP'd the tree. What was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, we had an early flight out of Tucson the next morning, and when we got back into town, every team that wins here at Auburn, they go and celebrate over at Toomer's Corner, and so we were no different. We had the buses from the airport drop us off over at Toomer's, and we had great support, some family and friends that came, and we rolled the trees. They rolled the trees with us. It was a nice celebration. Aubrey was there to help us celebrate. So you made it at Auburn when there's a reason to roll the trees in your honor. So for us winning that national championship, we had gotten pictures from the night before of some people that were out there rolling it, and then when we showed up Sunday morning, it was just great to be a part of that and have the guys kind of enjoy one of the dreams that you have whenever you're an Auburn student of rolling the trees at Toomer. So being able to do that with the trophy, with the nets, with the MVP ball that Jude Hiley was able to win was an incredible experience for us, and just having family and friends there and fans to celebrate us was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, is this, what would you say, this is kind of one of the more like rewarding situations or like outcomes that you've had? I mean, you've seen a lot, like you said, you've been all over the world and you've done a lot of things. Is this just been one of the more rewarding things to take a program from where it's at to this level? And I mean, from what I've seen and from all the recruiting that I've seen you guys are getting, it's not going to stop. I mean, it looks like a lot more winning basketball is on the way. So is this one of the more rewarding situations that you're in now?
For sure, because again, this is a program that we've kind of built with a vision, and we've recruited kids that can kind of fit within that vision, and it is rewarding because we've got guys that are graduating like Jake Eastwood and Evan Heller and Jay Denning that have been here for 4 and 5 years, that were here when we struggled to get some wins, and then they're here to see it through to win that championship. So it's rewarding to see the work that each and every single one of these athletes that you see in the picture put in to allow us to reach our goals. And yeah, from a recruiting standpoint, winning a championship doesn't hurt. While we're hopeful that we'll continue to win, we know every year is its own struggle. The three guys that I mentioned are seniors. Between the three of them, they've got over 5,000 career points scored, over or close to 3,000 career rebounds. So it's a lot that we need to replace in those three guys. But fortunately, the athletes that you see in the picture here are eager to jump in and try to replace, not even replace them, but fill their shoes and perform in the way that they're capable of. And we had some great performances this year. We had an incredible recruiting class this past year where, all four of our rookies this year were all part of the under 23 team, whether that was with the U.S. or whether that was with Canada. So they came in with some experience. One of our freshmen was our leading scorer this year with over 500 points scored. So while we're losing a lot in our seniors that are graduating, we've got a lot of talent that's sticking around, and a lot of talent to prove to people that it wasn't those three that helped us win the championship. It was a full team. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that the kind of picture of what Robb Taylor has done in his time, can you kind of tell me about some of the things that people might not know about wheelchair basketball that makes it so competitive? How the recruiting process for going and getting some of these kids, just some of those unknown details that some people might not necessarily know about, other than, well, they go play basketball in big arenas and they're competitive. They have these levels. What's some of that unknown stuff?
Well, I think that's the one thing about wheelchair basketball and adapted sports in general, is that everything is unknown about it. In general, we, as in the United States, don't do a good job of really pushing, promoting, and exposing people to adapted sports, with the exception of when the Paralympics happened. In Paris, we had great coverage. During the Milan Winter Games, there is some coverage, and hopefully in LA, there's some additional coverage. But wheelchair basketball and adapted sports is no different than the able-bodied game that you're used to watching. Now, of course, there's some nuances to it. In wheelchairs, we don't have the ability to make lateral cuts like they do in the able-bodied game. So everything that we do in wheelchair basketball is more team-focused. It's a lot of pick and rolls. It's a lot of setting screens for each other. But the game is no different. All the rules are exactly the same. The court is exactly the same. The basketball height is still 10 feet. The one thing we don't have is double dribble, so our athletes can put the ball in their lap. They have to push their chair twice before they have to dribble again. Otherwise, it is traveling. But a lot of the athletes can dribble and push at the same time. It is a fast-paced, high-action, and a full-contact sport. Chairs are hitting each other. Guys are falling down. They're able to right themselves right back up and get back into the play and compete. So, the difference is there really isn't a whole lot. What we need in the world of wheelchair basketball, in the world of adapted athletics, is just greater exposure. It would have been great for our national championship game against Alabama to be televised on name a network: ESPN, SEC Network, NBC. to help with the exposure. And I mean, anyone that's familiar with the SEC and Auburn or Alabama understands the hatred and the rivalry that's there. So regardless of what the outcome would have been in that national championship game, and I'd say this even if we would have lost, but we didn't, so I can say it now. But I think the exposure that we would have gotten from an Auburn-Alabama national championship matchup would have done wonders for our sport. So when people want to know about wheelchair basketball or adaptive sports, it's come check it out. Google it, watch videos online, go and watch the gold medal game from Paris, go and watch any of the live streams that any of the college teams do. But in terms of what we do and how we recruit, it is different than able-bodied basketball. Not every high school has a wheelchair basketball team where I can go to a local high school and find the team or find an athlete there. Wheelchair basketball is more set up in regional locations. So there are junior programs within large regional areas. So down here in Alabama, the Lakeshore Foundation, which is in Birmingham, Alabama, they have a juniors team, which is made up of junior or high school players within that regional area. There's one in Nashville. There's several in Chicago. It's spread out all over the country. Kansas City has a team, Jacksonville, Florida, New York City. So when we recruit, we travel to those junior tournaments and we watch all the kids that are playing there. We will travel to their national tournament and watch all the junior teams that are there. And then every summer, we've got a summer camp where I think this summer we'll have about 42 athletes on campus. They'll come in, they'll learn from me, they'll learn from our student athletes. They'll have an opportunity to see Auburn. And hopefully that's an opportunity for us to convince them that Auburn is the right place for them to call home when they start looking at different colleges. But, the big thing that people need to learn is that our athletes are high-level athletes. They compete at a high level. They should be seen in the same light as their able-bodied counterparts, whether they're collegiate athletes or professional athletes, or our Paralympians are just as competitive, if not more competitive than their Olympic counterparts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was loving that it was an Iron Bowl. And I mean, you guys already play each other several times during the regular season. And from my understanding is you guys split it, was 3-3 or something around there.
Yep.
And then you meet in the national championship. I mean, that's storybook stuff. I mean, that is the perfect storyline for ESPN to go, oh man, 3-3 tie in the Iron Bowl, break it in the Natty.
I mean, you've got NBA playoffs happening right now. You got NHL playoffs happening right now. What is more exciting than a Game 7 of any series, let alone the Game 7 of a Stanley Cup Finals or Game 7 of the NBA Championship Finals? I mean, that is storybook. That is what everybody is dying to watch. And again, with the rivalry between Auburn and Alabama, I think the only other rivalry that can come close to comparing to it is Ohio State and Michigan. But because there isn't an Ohio State wheelchair basketball team, you can't have that rivalry. So we're probably the biggest rivalry in collegiate wheelchair basketball. Yes, I think it was a missed opportunity, but it's not to say that people can't jump on now and start pushing to help with the exposure, with televising it and helping get the word out there.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last question for you, and I've asked this of every guest. You've got quite a career panned out, over 25 years that you talked about. What would Robb Taylor now tell undergrad Robb Taylor just exiting Illinois, and then you went to Mizzou for a little bit, right, from what I had seen? So fresh entering into the coaching scene, what would you tell that Robb Taylor?
So as I was leaving Illinois, I was working kind of part-time jobs trying to make wheelchair basketball work. I was working with the U.S. team and was just kind of barely paying the bills to get by. So there was a time where I questioned whether I should stay involved in wheelchair sports. So what I would tell them now is, man, keep at it. Things are about to be golden. So keep pushing forward, keep doing what you're doing. And then one thing that I do tell coaches all the time, the younger coaches that I talk to, and this was something that I learned early on, was I never said no to any opportunity that was presented to me. There was several unpaid opportunities that were just presented to me, and I knew I couldn't say no to it. And because I didn't say no, I got introduced to different people and put in different positions and given more responsibility that I think for anybody watching this, whether you're a coach, whether you're an athlete, or whether you're in the corporate world and you're trying to move up the ladder, it's don't say no to opportunities that are given to you, because you never know what doors those are going to open for you and what path you're going to be able to go down from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible. Robb, thank you so much for coming on the show today and chatting with me. This was a very like bucket list type thing to talk to a coach like yourself, just because it's outside of like the normal box that we do here at Stadium Rant. So to get somebody that's as decorated as yourself in a sport that needs more recognition and has the level of success that you have, thank you very, very much for doing this. And I will get this shared, get this pushed out to the right audiences, and get that recognition that you guys need for being an incredible program. So thank you.
Well, Nolan, I appreciate your time today, and Stadium Rant is a great service, and continue to do the work that you're doing. And next time we come through Missouri and you come out to a game, or if you're ever in Auburn, we'd love to host you at one of the games here. But thank you very much for your time, and War Eagle.
Absolutely. Thanks, Robb.
For full episodes and other shows, visit Stadium Rant on YouTube.